So some people have buttocks made of hardened steel forged in the mountains of Mordor, capable of sitting on church pews for hours on end without feeling any discomfort at all. Me, on the other hand, with my plump middle management executive glutes, require a different level of creature comfort. And that's why we've come here to try out these comfort saddles from Sargent. You've probably heard me mention them in my previous videos, and I'm a big fan of them. I've had a comfort saddle from Sargent on my previous bike, the F750GS, and I absolutely loved it. So now we have a chance to try the whole series, all saddles from Sargent, on the BMW F750GS and the F850GS. So if you're thinking of buying a comfort saddle, if you're thinking of Sargent, or if you just have pain in the ass from riding too long on the stock saddle, this is the video for you. Alright folks, so let's start with talking about this one. This is the stock saddle from BMW for the F750 and 850GS. This is actually the lowered version. We have the regular one as well. But this has been sitting on your bike, the 850GS, and you've done 15,000 kilometers on this specific saddle right here. So why don't you tell us, what was your experience with this? How was it riding on the lowered BMW saddle?
Well, I did reach the ground,
yeah,
and actually I did survive.
You survived?
I did survive.
Barely.
Barely.
It's about as comfortable as well sitting on a 2x4 made of steel. As I said, it's not a lot of foam. I've been doing a bit of riding on this one, and my ass screams for mercy after about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours.
Yeah.
The good thing about it is that it is very low. You will reach the ground even on a taller bike, so that's good. And if you move around a lot, I mean, if you're doing just twisties or off-road or something like that, it's not gonna, punish you as much. But as soon as you're doing any kind of static driving highways or anything like that, you'll be begging for mercy quite soon. The regular saddle is a little better, but not by much. And you heard us talk previously and praise the name of Sargent Cycle. I mean, you were the first one to get experience with the Sargent Cycle comfort saddle. So which bike did you first buy one for?
Oh, my long time love was the DR650.
Yeah, Suzuki DR650.
Yeah,
that's
I ride for many years.
Big dirt bike.
And I moved to the Sargent adventure seat, and that made a lot of difference.
Yeah,
a lot of difference from the stock one.
Yeah,
but the stock one was actually much worse than this one.
Yeah,
that one was terrible.
I actually came in contact with Sargent Cycle the first time when I had my BMW 700GS. And it came actually with one of those lowered saddles, slightly different for the 700, but more or less the same thing. And I bought the aftermarket seat from saddle from Sargent for the 700GS, and it was like night and day. It was like, it was such a huge difference. It was like we're driving a completely new bike, because the 700GS, the main problem with me was with that bike was the punishing seat. It was a really fun bike to drive, but after a few hours, you were quite sore.
Yeah. So
for me, this is really a must-have, a necessity for these bikes, the 750 and 850GS, especially on longer trips. And we reached out to Sargent actually and asked them if we could try their saddles, because we're a fan of their brand. They did not ask us to do this review. We actually contacted them and asked them if we could borrow a few saddles and try them. And I actually have to say that these saddles, they really make a difference when you're riding for any length of time. They come in some different varieties and some different shapes. This is the regular comfort saddle right here from Sargent. This is the regular height one, I think, as well. Yeah, because this is for the 750GS, matching color with the 750GS. So this is, you can look at this and you can see that there's really nice stitching going on here. The craftsmanship is actually quite excellent on these. I'm by no means an expert, but I can tell, you know, they put a lot of effort into this. And it's actually quite a comfortable seat. This is a kind of like beveled one, so you get a little bit of support at the back here. And there's actually another feature that comes on these saddles, which is kind of cool, that down here, they actually attached a little flashlight. Yeah, just like that. Which is really good if you get stuck at the side of the road and you need to change a tire or adjust something or whatever. They're actually quite good, these flashlights as well. They have several functions and they're quite strong LED-wise. Right, so this is the regular comfort saddle. There is a lowered one as well that we tried on the 850GS, which is your bike, which has been lowered via suspension. You can see on one of our previous videos about the lowering of that bike. Okay, so you've been riding around a lot on this particular saddle right here. So what were your impressions of it?
Well, the main impression is that it's a great comfort, any kind of riding. But what I like a lot is that it's quite thin in the front, which means that even with my short legs, I can reach the ground.
Yeah, so let's see. Let's put it like that. It's thin here, yeah.
And one other feature that I did like a lot with this.
So this narrow thing here is good for off-road as well. If you're standing up on the foot pegs and stuff like that, it is a little bit.
You can keep your knees on the tank.
Yeah, and then it gets quite wide over the seat to distribute the weight. And my ass isn't the narrowest in the world, so I surely appreciated the width of it.
Another thing that I didn't expect, but it actually surprised me, is that how easy it is to shift position in the seat. So when you're driving actively, you can move your weight around very easily. That's I didn't expect that.
You can see that this the material here is textured. Yeah, this allows the fabric of the clothes to slide and gives it just the right amount of grip, so you can shift position when you're riding. I think that maybe the thing with this one, this is a touring seat, I would say. The only maybe problem with it is that you do sit quite inside this little bevel here, which kind of invites to very static driving, which is going to give you a worse posture over time. But that static posture is going to be way more comfortable than on the stock seat. But my favorite was not this saddle. This is a great saddle. I liked it. It was a huge upgrade to the stock saddle. But this right here, piece of engineering made in the proud US of A by Sargent Cycle is the rally saddle. And this, my friends, was a total surprise for me. It's a little taller, so my short legs had a little trouble getting down to the ground on this one. But it was really, really comfortable to ride. Narrow as well at the front, so when you stand up on the foot pegs and you're riding off-road or something like that, you get really good grip around the tank and it's not in your way. And that actually also helps reach the ground because it's narrow, because your feet are closer together. But this surface over here was really nice when we were driving off-road. You could really, move around and use the entire surface to shift your weight around to balance the bike, and it was actually quite comfortable. It's a bit stiffer than the other comfort seat, so you could definitely notice that. And but yeah, it was really, really nice. This is my absolute favorite, and this is the one we'll probably put on the 850GS.
I like it a lot too.
Tell me, what was your experience with it?
Well, it's more or less like you. It's narrow in the front. You can get your knees on the back tank and to hold the tank with it. You reach down to the ground, even if it's a little higher than this one. But of course, the great thing is that you can move around in all directions. Shift your weight back somewhere, which sometimes is good. And on long stretches on the highway, I noticed that it was very comfortable, especially the ability that you could shift the weight back and that way distribute a little bit the weight of your body.
Yeah.
So actually, this is an all-rounder. It could be used for touring just as well as off-road.
Yeah, it absolutely can. And of course, it also comes with the same flashlight underneath, right over there. We did talk a little bit with Sargent, and they informed us that there was this recall issue with the 750 and 850GS because of the latches of the seats, and that's been addressed on the Sargent cycles. That's on these seats. That was done even before BMW had fixed their own seats. They had fixed theirs. So these seats right here come with that fix to compensate for that latch issue with the bike. What can you tell us about the lowered comfort saddle from Sargent?
I'm very pleased with it, and I did actually try both of them. So I switched from one and the other, the comfort saddles, the low one and the standard one. And I must say, I didn't notice much difference. Actually, they are both very comfortable. Maybe this higher one might have a little more comfort on a very, very, very long ride, for instance, on a highway. But we did a lot of riding, and I didn't feel any difference.
No, I think that the low comfort saddle from Sargent also is very, very comfortable. I mean, compared to the regular one, yeah, sure, there was a bit of a difference, but not so much that that I want to choose this one over the lowered one based on the comfort, and more a question of the height. But yeah, sure, there is a little bit of a difference. So what was it like reaching the ground with the regular one, this one, the regular saddle, the one with the blue trim?
Actually, it's not that big a difference.
No?
It's only a few centimeters. And for me, actually, I could use this one.
Yeah.
I could use it. But I do get the feet a little more on the side, maybe a few centimeters more on the side on the low saddle. And that gives a little more confidence on the rough stuff.
Yeah, to clarify, it is actually lower, but whether or not it makes difference for Miguel or not is a different aspect, but it is obviously lower. What about the rally saddle? What was it like reaching the ground with this one? At least my favorite saddle. Is this your favorite as well? Or?
Yeah.
So what was it like reaching the ground with this one?
Well, for me, they have very short legs. It was a little more difficult. I could not put my feet really on the ground.
The heels.
I had to, be more on the toes.
Yeah. Yeah, it is taller, definitely. It is taller than the regular comfort saddle as well. I could feel that as well when I was sitting on this one. I still like it the best. It's very comfortable, but it's also very, very useful if you do any kind of dual sport riding, if you're driving on-road, off-road, that kind of thing. If you're only driving on-road, obviously the regular comfort saddles may be the better choice unless you prefer this kind of saddle. But I mean, there's going to be as many opinions as there are going to be viewers of this video. So I'm not going to tell you which saddle is the best. I mean, I'm only going to tell you what we like personally based on our preferences and riding styles. And I really liked the rally saddle. That was the saddle for me. And of course, another good thing about Sargent is that they have saddles for pretty much every bike you can imagine. And you can get them in any trim you want, almost. They have a ton of coloring options to match your bike and so on. So if this is something you feel that might interest you, go ahead and check out their website. Their customer support is also really helpful, and they do answer emails and so on. I can't say enough good things about these saddles, actually. They are supremely comfortable compared to the stock saddles, at least. They're a huge improvement, and I would highly recommend them. So if you're in the market to buy a comfort saddle from an aftermarket, you should seriously consider Sargent Cycle. There are, of course, other brands as well, and BMW offers their own comfort seat. But we are very happy with these ones and would highly recommend them.
For me, it's been like dying and waking up in heaven.
I don't think we can say anything better than that about these seats. They're Absolutely brilliant. We did drive around on them for quite a while in Spain. We did some off-road, we did some on-road, we did highways, we did twisties, we did pretty much everything you can think of. And yeah, they're up for the task. So I think that concludes our review of these saddles. I hope you liked them. If you have any questions, leave a comment in the section below. Subscribe to our channel for more interesting stuff, and see you soon. And again, thank you to Sargent for sending us these saddles for trying out.